Welcome back to the channel and a reprocessing video in PixInsight. This time we are going to be reprocessing IC 1396 or the Elephant Trunk Nebula. My name is Morten and you are watching Frost Astrophotography here from my miniature home observatory in Örnsköldsvik, 63 degrees north in the upper part of Sweden. So the Elephant Trunk Nebula, I've done it a couple of times before, but I really feel like there could be some more details in this image, and let's see if we can reveal it. So join me in PixInsight and we will start the reprocessing of the elephant trunk. Looking at the data here for the Elephant Trunk Nebula, I have 157 light frames, and that is 13 hours of total integration time, 57 HA, 46 O3 and 54 S2. In this case I have used the original stacked and drizzled master light frames, so I haven't done anything to the source material whatsoever. The material seems to be fairly good. Looking at H-alpha here, we have the elephant trunk, the O3. You can also see the elephant trunk here, and also in the S2. This data was gathered during 4 different sessions spanning from 2022 01/17, that's 17th of January, and 18th of March the next year, 2023. If this would have been today, I would probably not have saved as many light frames as I did here, because my selection routine has improved a little bit. So there might be some frames in here that will degrade the image, but since this is a reprocessing and we're going to compare it to the old version, I will use exactly the same source material. Starting off with the linear phase, I did some initial processing steps. This is a dynamic crop and an automatic background extraction, as well as some rotation of the image, as you can see here. You can't really see any big differences here between the two images, and you shouldn't, I would say, because these steps hasn't changed much, although I think the automated background extraction script that I used on the left here is a little bit more efficient than the dynamic background extraction that I used in the old image. So that was H-alpha. We're going to compare the O3 here, and I didn't rotate that image. And for the O3 you can see a big difference here in the extraction method of the background. It's much more defined in the image to the left here than it is in the image to the right. And as well as the S2 even though it's not as defined as the O3, I would say. So not a great deal of difference, but still there is a difference. At the end of the linear phase here, I have run through blur exterminator and noise exterminator. And of course, the new version of noise exterminator with AI3. And we can see a bit of a difference here. I will zoom in on this little area. And then I will compare that to the old one. We can see that I would say this image is a bit sharper. When it comes to noise, I don't know if you can see that through the YouTube compression algorithm, but there has definitely been an improvement in noise level as well. So in general, I would say less noise and a sharper, better result for blur exterminator as well when you are looking at the stars and the non-stellar objects in the image here. I also think my initial steps with removing the background here was a bit more effective in this image. You can see clearly that we have more details comparing the background to the faint areas here. And you don't have the same here, I would say. We're going to rotate this as well, just to quickly go through. This is the oxygen 3, same thing here. A lot more details. We have some problems with the stars here. I don't know if this is a screen stretch issue or not, or why it is like that, but definitely much more effective in handling that type of problem, I would say. And on the S2, now the screen transfer function is a little bit funky here on some of the images after noise exterminator, even though I have the 24-bit lookup table active here, but you can definitely see a difference here. Much more details in the area here, separating the background from the non-stellar objects, I should say. Now we're starting to come into some real differences here. This is the first step in the nonlinear phase. The image to the left here has been stretched with statistical stretch, as well as the IHDR script. And that gives me a lot more details and contrast comparing this to the right. I can't remember exactly, but I'm fairly sure that I stretched it using histogram transformation tool only. So we're going to zoom in on the actual elephant trunk here, a portion of it, and compare that to the left. And you can see here that although we have exposed some artifacts that I have in this frame, it's worse in other light frames. I don't know exactly what it is. If it's remnants from star exterminator, maybe. There used to be stars here. It's not so annoying when you're introducing the stars back later on, so I'm not too worried about it, but you can't see them as good on the image to the right here, but you have a lot more details, you have a lot more contrast between the dark and the light areas, even though it is borderline overexposed here at some of the very bright regions in the gas and dust cloud here. But this is good news, I would say, moving forward, because this is exactly what I want, and one of the main reasons for my reprocessing videos is to expose more details in the image, making it better at least in my opinion, than the older result. Same for O3 here, a lot more details. Much better result with the star here, no halo, even though it is exactly the same data. And here we have the S2, and I always have some problems with noise in the S2 here. I would like at least 100 light frames of 5 minutes each to avoid this, but it is extra visible now when I have exposed all of these faint detail areas here that I didn't do on the image to the right here. Okay, we are in the final part or the final steps of the non-linear phase here. This is the SHO integration done exactly the same way, even though you can see that we have different results here, and that is because we have a completely different image to start with. It's stretched in a different way, and that makes the color blend initially also different, but this is exactly the same SHO integration done with pixel math, simply one frame in each of the color channels and no other magic whatsoever. The first thing that I did for both was to run through SCNR, of course. That removes some of the green in the normal phase or normal rotation, and then it removes magenta when you run it in inverted mode on the image here. And we can see now that we have a little bit of a different mix between the blue, yellow, red, orange SHO. We're going to try to push forward in revealing the blue nuances and the red, yellow some more, of course. But we see already that we have a completely different image coming forward here. So next step, we did some initial color adjustments. I usually start with making some color masks and start with curves transformation to try to boost the blue here in the cyan areas. And if that doesn't overwhelm the image, I will let that be. Or if it is not to my liking, I will use the script selective color correction to further work on the blue nuances here. And then I move forward with the yellow and red. We have a lot more contrast so far in the image. I move forward with adding some sharpening. I will see here if there's a big difference or not. I would say yes. We started with some better stretching, so the sharpening here is much more effective than it was in the earlier processing. I would say that also is due to Blur Exterminator, maybe. Some noise removal. And then, of course, I had an extra step here in my new version that I didn't have in my old version. And I will open up that again because I closed the last image here. Let me see if I can have it. This is the last image that I showed you. I just will rotate it. So that is a synthetic luminance layer and of course also dark structure enhanced script that I use these days that I didn't use so much earlier. And that gave me this result here. Now we can zoom in here on the elephant trunk again in this area and really look at the details that we have. We have another color. Here we had some more yellow, orange, reddish. And in this image we have more of a black, white, gray mix. And for the elephant trunk itself, it's about the same color, but you can see that we have a lot more details around the elephant trunk here, like this little cloud structure. You can visually observe that much better than in the other image. And we can zoom in on this little cloud dust field up here and see that we can see this now a lot clearer than we could before. Now, maybe it's borderline here for the synthetic luminance. Maybe it's a little too sharpened, but we will see how it will be later on for the final result here. Before I reveal the final integration here, I'm showing you the stars. You can see as I used in my previous image SHO stars, and they were a little bit bigger. I usually opt today for smaller stars. I don't reduce them anything, I just don't stretch them as much today. And I also use the synthetic RGB stars today. So if we zoom in here on an area with the stars and compare, you can see that, well, the stars are much smaller. If we focus on this system here with 3 stars, you can see that in the old image, they kind of blur together 1 plus 1. Although this is 2 stars. And on the image to the left here, you can definitely see that it is 3 different stars here. And this has also been color calibrated with the Gaia star database here. So that is what I used for the 2. And now I'm going to reveal the final result. This is the old image here, SHO with SHO stars, and this is the new image, SHO with synthetic RGB stars. And I would say color-wise, it's not a huge difference. Detail-wise, I would say a very big difference. I try to go for softer colors today when I'm processing. I try to go for details over saturation, but then of course I want to saturate my nice area so that I can expose the nice blue, for example. I really like the new elephant trunk here. If you compare it to the old is nice as well. I have a lot more details in the new one, especially some fainter areas. If we compare those, like down here, I've lost some color here, of course, just because I stretched the 3 light frames differently, so the color blend was a bit different. Maybe I should have done a different blend this time, but I opted for exactly the same blend, just so that I could compare them to better. Yeah, this is the result. Elephant trunk, Nebula, 13 hours, 157 light frames. Enjoy this image, and I hope you enjoyed this reprocessing video. I will be back with another reprocessing video soon. And I also have a couple of new objects that I'm working on now that I'm finished with the data gathering. So there will be some new videos. And hopefully I will be able to get some more data before the end of the season. But up here at 63 degrees north, time is running out. It is starting to get lighter and brighter, and soon there will be no night sky for the entire summer here.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you like it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're not already a subscriber. If you want to support the work with these videos, there is an option listed in the video description that you can use. And until the next video, I wish you have clear skies.